I've not used this before, so I'm just trying it out.
Hey man, it's been too long since we sat down and that just feels wrong. Allow me to give my head a shake, open my eyes and fix a mistake. Do you wanna come over? Just like the old times, we'll hit pause and then hit a rewind. You wanna come over? Just like the old days, and we'll watch the time just fly. Hey buddy, no strangers here. These times I hold them dear. My door's open, so come on in. This was great, let's do it again. Do you wanna come over? Just like the old times, we'll hit pause and then hit rewind. You wanna come over? Just like the old days, and we'll watch the time just fly. Do you wanna come over? Just like the old times, we'll hit pause and then hit rewind. You wanna come over? Just like the old days, and we'll watch the time just fly.
Hey,
There
we're
we are.
live. We're live. But is that any of your Toy Biz? That's the question we're going to ask today. All right, we're going to find out all about that in a moment. I'm going to go through the Clubhouse roll call. And while I do that, Adam, I want you to ponder on this. All right, and I want your honest answer by the end of this roll call. Whether it was the Joker or any other squirting action figure, did you direct it at yourself and spray it into your own mouth? Now, think about it, whether you want to be honest about that or not. But we're going to find out in a moment after I do this Clubhouse roll call. So thank you to the Patreon members, Wilhelm, Toy and Hobby, Casey Wheeler, Handsome Man Ratface, 44 reviews, David, Samuel Blaine, The Retro Tinker, Cindy K, Sunny Sundries, Jonathan Sorensen, Happy Accident, Joshua Allen, Adam from Gofigure, but that's not all. They ran out of space, had to do a second roll call. So we've got Scuba Pete, Treasures for Trigger, Hans Chow, Ken Poe, Brandon Haley, Space Commander. Big thank you to those that support the channel. We appreciate it. Every little bit counts, but it also counts to have people hanging out in the chat, which they're already doing. So I'll say a quick hello to the chat, and then, Adam, you can explain to us exactly what we're doing here today. So we've got Gap After Dark is here. He's saying, hey, Zazel, and he's like, hell, Adam.
Hell,
Adam. Hell. Oops. Hello.
Oh,
Jimbo's here. Let's go. We're going. We got a good day from Sunny Frisch. Sunny Frisch. That's fresh. It's fresh in the morning at the moment where I am. TJC Evening Legends. Good morning from me.
oh, how the turntables have turned.
Sunny Sundries, that's better. Wrong account. Welcome. The boys are back. We were hanging out with Phil last night. We're talking about the return of Mo Tuesday was last night. It's a morning show now. Cindy's here. Hello, Cindy. I'm going to reach out to you soon, Cindy, so we can get you on a live stream. Crash. Sup, guys? How are you, Crash? Good to see you, buddy. Adam and Zazel. G'day, bud. Thanks for tuning in, fellas and ladies. So let's get into it. Tell me, Adam, what is that any of your Toy Biz?
So we are gonna do a little show here, you and I, where we are gonna go through the history of Toy Biz, and I think often when we think back about Toy Biz, it can kind of be a jokey laughing stock. We can kind of like, oh, these figures were not as good as these figures, and they're kind of, but really, the Marvel Legends and the 6-inch phenomenon we have in the collecting world, I think we owe to Toy Biz. So we're going to start in 1980 today, and we're going to work our way up, and we are going to go through the history over a number of episodes, the history of Toy Biz to get where we are today, and just hopefully we can come up with a new appreciation for the line that came before.
Excellent. That sounds like a great idea for a show. I'm glad you came up with it. Jeff, how are you, mate?
Did I see Largo say he's just Bob the Goon?
Yeah.
There is some Bob the Goon action coming up, buddy.
Nice. Now, Adam, did you or did you not squirty toys into your own face?
So what? 100% yes. And my figure of choice for that was Cobra Khan with the mist.
Oh yes, of course.
On a hot summer day, you fill it with water and you're ready to go.
I was so guilty of it. With whether it be a super soaker, whether it be a little water pistol, whether it be a water firing action figure, I just couldn't resist it. I had to. Right. I had to do it. Oh, G.I. Joe, the Lost Chronicles is here. Hey-o from Arizona. Good to see you, bud.
Would you spray into your mouth from that Batman water pistol?
Do I have that still? Do I have that still? Let's find out. I don't seem to have it here.
Oh.
But yes, the Batman water pistol. How did I not have that teed up and ready to go on a Batman stream?
I figured I was like, he's got it. He's got to have it.
Was that? Yeah, I think you shared it from your screen last time.
Yeah, I might have.
Yeah, I didn't save it. But if you saw Adam and I on a previous figure, this is technically a FigureHouse. Clubhouse
if you just add that screen right there, we'll show people the Batman water gun.
Yeah. Would I have squirt that? How could you resist? You would have to. There's no way I wouldn't have. Just moving on.
Off of there.
Get out of here. All right, would you like me to share the other slides yet?
Sure. Well, I'm just going to start in saying the Toy Biz story, much like myself, starts in Canada.
Right.
So if you go ahead and share this this little slideshow I have here.
Will do.
So there was a company, it was actually called Shantrax Incorporated, which was started in 1980 in Quebec, Montreal, Quebec, Ontario, or Canada. And in 1985, it merged with Randium Marketing, and they became the Sharon Incorporated Group. And that group had a subsidiary called Sharon Toys, and that was this company. And so they just kind of released, water guns and some hockey equipment because it's Canada, those kind of toys. And then in 1989 or 88, they got the license for Batman. And so they were like, we're going to do these Batman figures. Now, what they did is they stayed Sharon Toys in Canada. And for the rest of the world, for distributing, they became a subsidiary of them. It was Toy Biz. It was like a in-house separate second marketing thing. So if you had toys come out in Canada, they were marked with a Sharon. And if they were anywhere else in the world, they were marked with Toy Biz. Which means you can...
How are you, Ronnie?
Hey, Ronnie. You can find a Bob the Goon that has both a Toy Biz logo on it and a Sharon logo.
That is so cool. There you go, Jimbo. Right. You've got your early Bob the Goon. I did not know that.
Yeah, and so cool. The other thing is, you'll notice that the Sharon Toys one are bilingual because they were in Canada. So you had to legally have to have English and French.
Gotcha.
And so bilingual cards have Sharon on them, and Toy Biz cards are just in English. And so that was kind of the beginning of the company there, and there was some variations early on, and it was kind of the company didn't really know what they were doing. They were really kind of just throwing things at a wall to see what worked. Now, so part of the story of Toy Biz is they didn't know what they were doing. It was breaking new ground. The other factor is it was 1989.
Oh yeah.
And in 1989, I think.
Fry Spite?
Oh, Fry Spite's here. Sweet. So Jaws was the first summer blockbuster. Jaws came out in like 73, I believe it was 73. And it was the first movie that was like, we're going to be at the movie to see in the summertime. But Batman was the first movie that took over everything. And there's my parents and people my parents' age will say, we knew where we were the moment, JFK was shot. Like all these, if you were a kid in 1989, it was Bat Mania. It was everywhere. You could not hide from it. Those black T-shirts with the yellow bat symbol on it. If you didn't have at least one of those, you were not cool. And it was just like a thing that you had to have. And so the
Trading
marketing,
cards,
trading cards.
Quick hello to K-Dog. How are you, bud?
K-Dog. And so it's almost like the marketing machine didn't know what was coming. And so if you look back and you say the biggest DC character, most marketable one, is going to have the biggest movie in comic book movie history. It's going to be this craze. We're going to give the toy license to an unknown Canadian toy company. It doesn't make any sense, right? Like it's
no.
That's not the right call to make. So we had Toy Biz, and they were like, okay, we got to make some Batman action figures. So what are we going to base that on? Where are we going to start? So what they did is they said to themselves, well, in 1984, there was a line of figures came out. Gaz is here. Right there, buddy. In 1984, Kenner released the Power line. Now, these figures, in my mind, were perfect toys.
Yeah.
Now, were you a DC kid growing up?
So I wasn't reading DC comics as a kid, but I was collecting action figures. And whether it was Superman, Batman, Flash, I did have a lot of the core characters in my collection.
Right. And so,
but I was not. Yep. But to be fair, I wasn't a big DC guy.
Okay.
Right. But I knew the big guys, and so you get the big guys.
So the Kenner line, like I say, it was the most accurate looking to the comic book page, and they were based on comic books as opposed to being based on like the Super Friends TV show or another cartoon, which was the style at the time to base figures on content. But this content came right from the comic books, and they nailed it. Everything from the action features that were worked into them, to the sculpts, the colors, they popped. Phil's saying Batman's superpowers is his favorite all-time action figure, and it's a great apex action figure. Yeah, they were. There's nothing wrong with them. They are perfect action figures, and I'll even say they had built-in action gimmicks, but you could use their arms independently as well. There was no like click 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 like those Hasbro wrestlers or whatever it would be. You weren't going to break Superman's arm by moving it around. So they were brilliant. So what Toy Biz did was they said, well, let's take a look at the Batman and the Joker there. We're just going to, and we'll base our toy line off of those ones.
You could almost decide to base a whole Robin Hood action figure line on these guys.
So when we're done the Toy Biz show, I think we're going to go into the unsung Kenner years. It'll be our next show.
Okay, perfect.
All right. So these two will weave together, but they based them on these figures so much so that on the back of the card for the action figures, it was simply a repainted Joker and a repainted Batman.
Yeah.
And like unapologetically, they just repainted them and said, these are what their figures are going to kind of sort of look like.
Gotcha.
Right. And so then
look at that squirt coming from Joker there.
Yeah. So you can see they shaved off his little hair horns, and they put a big flower on them. But the actual figure looks nothing like this, as well as Batman looks nothing like this. So they were like, we're going to take these and we're just going to make our version of the Superpowers line. Which, as a kid, I remember when these came out, especially when the other DC heroes came along, it felt like another chance to complete that line. Like, oh, they're back again. And so, like, by that time, my Superman's legs were broken and whatnot. So I got the Toy Biz one as a way to, like, oh, I'm just going to get a new version of the Superpowers one. Even the card art, it's not an exact one for one, but you can see elements were borrowed. The stars in the stripe here are along the top. The idea of having a drawn version of Batman on the card with it, you know, it's very much a mirror image. And even that image of Batman that's drawn is just a comic book Batman in a black suit as opposed to the movie suit.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? They were just, you could tell they were putting an effort in, but they didn't know exactly what was going on. Oh, Nate is back. Buddy? And again, I think both of these cards are dynamite. Like I love both of them on the shelf. You don't get stuff like this anymore.
And up until this point, the most recognizable look for Batman was blue and gray. It
was a big deal to have an all black Batman, even to the point where they would release like items that were like pencil toppers and, you know, wall hangers and things in both blue and gray and in black. They would put both versions out that summer because nobody knew what one people would prefer. That summer was the first year that I saw the Adam West Batman show because it was on TV at least once every 2 weeks. There was someone else was showing the Batman movie. So it was huge. And so we got these figures. So the line consisted of 3 figures. They looked at the movie and they said, we can pull 3 action figures out of that line, which is bananas if you think about it. Right? Now, there's good and there's bad things happening here. And a lot of the bad is bad from an adult's point of view. Now, Did you have these figures growing up?
So we definitely had Batman.
Yep.
And I have a vague memory of Bob the Goon, but that may have been that my buddy had Bob the Goon. For some reason, and maybe it's because it was a small line, every kid had a Bob the Goon.
Yeah.
And so I don't know whether we had him or we just know that every friend had one. But we definitely had Batman.
Yeah. And so these came out, and again, build quality and sculpt, as an adult, they're inferior to the superpowers that came before them. We did not care.
Right.
This was a black, cool version of Batman. Joker was there. I love the fact that he had a hat, and now looking back, his hat is way too big for his head, and it looks goofy, just like Bob the Goon's does. But it's it's not as good as the Superpowers one as far as craftsmanship goes, but it was our Joker for a new generation, and we loved it. And so they released them on these cards, and you'll see something here that is this is the start. This is the start of it happening. Right. Aside from the prototypes in the back, but Bob the Goon's gun is just they stole the mold or reverse engineered the mold from a G.I. Joe handgun.
Right. Yep.
And so the next wave that we're going to talk about on our next episode, they really doubled down on we're just going to reverse engineer the molds, and we're going to figure it out. We're not even going to try. We're just going to do that. But we had these 3 figures. So if you're a collector, like you said, you just need to get these 3 figures. However, that is not true, because there was actually 4 different Batman head sculpts.
Right.
And why this is, we don't exactly know. There's rumors that they were, exactly. Gaz has got it at Shockwave's pistol. Why there's different head sculpts, the jury's out, because there's rumors that they couldn't get Michael Keaton's likeness until a certain time. But again, even the Keaton head, I can't tell that it's Keaton.
Right.
But these have been affectionately called the square jaw, the round jaw, the Keaton, and the big lips. which makes them all sound like Tracy villains.
Oh man, round jaw looks like what it would look like if I shaved my beard and put on a Batman outfit. That is not a good look.
Yeah. Now, there's something interesting though about these heads. People are divided because whatever one you had as a child, that was the one that you identified most with.
Right.
So 3 of these look wrong to everybody, but they're never the same 3.
Okay.
So like,
So which one did you have?
I had the Keaton one growing up.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get mine till Christmas. They came out in the
Gotcha.
summer, and I got mine at Christmas time. So I had the Keaton one. So these other 3 look wrong to me. But my buddy, who was a good friend of mine, he had the square jaw one. So he's like, no, these other ones look wrong to me. So it's a whole thing. Which one did you have, Zazel?
I by the looks of it, I had Keaton. Yeah.
Right. So Keaton was the most common by the time the second kind of run of them came out. So these 3 were released kind of at random in the first run, and then by the time the second run came out, they were all this Keaton head.
Quick hello to Pericles. How are you, buddy? And a quick hi to Wilhelm. How are you, Will? He says he had the round jaw or Keaton.
Yeah, the round jaw and the Keaton are pretty similar. There's more paint on the round jaw, and his eyes are rounder, and his ears are a little longer. It's very subtle. But you wonder, you say like, just stick with one. If you had like, why release 4 heads?
Yeah, that if the jury's out, let's throw it to the chat to what reason they think they came up with 4. I have a feeling that maybe they gave 3 different sculptors before they could get onto Keaton, right? 3 different sculptors. They're a new company, transitioning company.
Yep.
They got their first big major deal. They're like, oh man, we got to get this right. So let's just put it out there, see who can come up with the best Batman. They look at them and they go, oh man, I don't know. It's like, how do you pick? How do you pick? And because they're Canadian, they're too nice, right? They're like, everyone gets a Batman, right? Everyone gets one. I reckon that's what it is.
One. Yeah, I'm not too sure, but again, I guess maybe they're trying to improve, but they all kind of came out at the same time. It's a real head scratcher, and neither
scratcher. Yeah.
There isn't a hard one to find. Like you can find them all pretty easily, and there isn't like an expensive one. It's not like 3 are cheap and one's expensive. They're all relatively cheap. They're all relatively easy to find. I found all 4 of mine at the same store in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada, and just in a bin. And so, like the Grease 2 Pink Lady song for the show, that head sculpt for each season. That's right. That's one for each season. The Big Lips is the winter one because he's all swollen because of the cold. But that's not where the variations stop, because there was also a variant Joker head that had a weird, like whale tail hair thing hanging down. And again, he's a little more rare. I think he looks ridiculous with that. But why release a second head sculpt? I don't. Neither of these looks like a problematic to take off the market. And I just don't. To me, to have somebody resculpt a head just seems like unnecessary time and money. But this was this new company like learning how to do action figures, right? Just kind of like learning how to do it. And again, I'll go back and I'll say like all of the figures had an action feature. Batman had the bat rope that came out of his belt, which to this day I still think is one of the coolest like play features in a Batman. I don't think we've seen a Batman figure that has had that built in since. It's always been like backpacks or big guns and whatnot.
Right. It's the best gimmick for a Batman that has not been utilized well since.
Right. And to be fair, I really like the Joker's like squirting flower. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Where again, the Bob the Goon kick action, it didn't take long until your Bob the Goon was constantly straight up kicking. Like he was constantly
like
in kick
E-Honda. from the G.I. Joe line. Yeah.
Right. And that was something that would come back and would kind of plague the rest of the line later on when more waves came out, was that kind of gimmick. But yeah, so there's variant Jokers, there's variant Batman. So if you wanted to collect all the figures, Zazel, you would need one Bob the Goon,
Right.
4 Batman, and 2 Jokers. We're at 7 figures now.
So if anyone says it's a 3-figure line, that's not true.
Not true. I like to, in my mind, pretend the other Batman head sculpts were his stunt doubles.
Right. Maybe that's what happened. Somebody had source material, and they're like, guys, that's not Michael Keaton. That's the stunt double. And maybe that's what's happening. This is stunt double with the whale hair.
Yeah, he's like, what were you thinking? Just like, be funny to do that. But again, looks nothing like Jack Nicholson at all, whatsoever. No. They were just trying to make a Joker figure. And I think there's something endearing about that, right? Like, even Bob the Goon doesn't look like Bob the Goon, but there's something endearing about him. But imagine this, Zazel. Imagine a world where they said, we're going to do 1 Batman head sculpt. Mm-hmm. And then instead of sculpting 3 other Batman heads, they sculpt 3 other Goon heads. So you could have like Bob the Goon, Chuck the Goon, Rick the Goon, Bill the Goon. I would have bought them all.
That makes more sense than having. Yeah, you're not wrong there. In fact, Bob the Goon. Whenever I'm at like a toy show or a vintage toy shop, that one's always there. There's always a Bob the Goon.
Yeah.
Maybe not a Batman, maybe not a Joker, but there's always a Bob the Goon.
Yeah. So I might, as we continue doing Toy Biz, what is that? Any of your Toy Biz? I'm going to try and get as many Bob the Goons as I can. Nice. And then each episode, I will show you a new Goon I've created, a new head sculpt, and a new Goon.
Love it. Brilliant.
And we'll get an army of Goons by the end of this thing.
So good.
All right. So moving on, there was a bunch of vehicles in this one. All right. So this was the Batmobile that came out. And I think to this day, it's a cross between this Batmobile and the Superpowers Batmobile for being the best Batmobile. But this is better to me than any of the Kenner versions of this movie Batmobile that came out.
How are you, Kiwi? Well, this to me, when I think of, and I know that there are many different iterations of the Batmobile, but whenever I think the Batmobile, this is the one that comes into mind. This is the one. This is my instant Batmobile image in my brain. It is just instantly recognizable. It's a force to be reckoned with, more so than the fun TV show one. That was a great looking car, but this is it for me.
And do you want to know something?
This is where it began, and this is where it ended.
Right. And so I'll tell you the things I love about this Batmobile.
Yeah.
I'm making the Goonies perfect. So people like to complain that it's a convertible. There's no roof on it. As a kid, it was easier to play with without a roof on it.
Right. Yeah.
All the Kenner versions of this movie Batmobile that came out were a single seater. Only one figure could fit in it. This had a 2-seater. It was great. People like to harp on the fact that it had missiles instead of machine guns. Missiles are more fun to play with. Those yellow missiles that came out are amazing. And this is going to sound like a real dad thing here. This thing had a lot of trunk space. You could open that trunk and put at least 4 or 5 figures in it.
Nice.
So it was kind of like a carrying case. And also, I'm going to get a little sentimental right now, and I hope you're okay with that.
Absolutely.
My Batmobile restoration video was the first one that you commented on. I was like, hey, buddy, I like your channel. I like your Batman video. This is a great video. Thanks for the process. And look at the friendship that it had spurned.
All thanks to Batman. That is, that's not warming. I'm going to go back and rewatch that video now.
There you go. Now, there was a variant of this as well. Because some of them came like this, and some came with this shield that went on top.
Oh, I thought they all came with the shield.
No. So the first run came with the shield, and then people complained that it was too fragile and broke too easily.
Yeah.
And parents didn't know what it was because it seemed like it didn't seem like a toy because it was so thin.
Right. Is it part of the packaging?
Is it part of the packaging? So the second run of them didn't have the shield anymore. They just cut the shield out.
Ah, lame.
I loved the shield. I
Yeah.
play with that so much.
Yeah. Until it broke.
Until it broke. But even then, it was like it'd be cracky, and I'd still kind of use it, and I'd do what I could with it. But it was great. It was great, and if you look back at the CGI in that movie from 1989, when he says "shields up," and it encompasses the car, and that to me is one of like the top 5 iconic moments in that movie.
I agree, and it's also one of the images that comes to mind when I think of the Batmobile. There's this great comment by Jim Largo: "Batman putting fear in the hearts of criminals and bringing friends together." I agree.
Jimmy,
What a lovely story. But yeah, when I think of the Batmobile, I think of the flames coming out the back. Going top speed down the middle of Gotham, and also that cool moment where the shield does come over. So it's and I remember this being the primary option for Batmobiles in my area. I didn't even know it came without option.
Yeah, no, this was peak right here. This was Christmas '89. Adam all Christmas Day was playing with this car.
Mm-hmm.
So then moving on, and I've never seen this in person.
Right.
But the Batman Bat Cycle, which again wasn't in the movie, I don't think it's great looking as a bike, but this existed. So Toy Biz really went down the G.I. Joe route.
Yeah.
Where there was more vehicles available than there was figures in this line.
Drop down bat wings. Okay.
Yeah, so you could drop your bat wings down and have yourself a great old time.
That's a $20 cycle with no Batman figure. That's pretty expensive for '89, right?
It's pretty expensive for '89. Yeah, it wasn't. This was. '89 was when toys started getting a little bit more. There was a price hike happened at that point in time where you saw G.I. Joe was going from like $3 to like $6 for a figure, right?
Yeah.
Like that was kind of that era. But there was a Bat Cycle, so again, I don't have any love for it, but it is part of the line, and I got to give hats off to them for doing that. Now this next one is a head scratcher.
Okay.
Because we can say that when I say Batmobile, I think of the '89 version, and I think of the Toy Biz toy. The Batwing that came out with this line, it was pretty rough.
Right. It's
and have you played with this as a kid or seen it as an adult recently?
I haven't seen it recently. I had a buddy that had the Batwing. I never had it. I don't remember that it had suction cap rockets on it. That's new. I don't remember ever seeing that, but vague memories of it for sure.
Yeah, so it had suction cup darts, which I thought cheapened it for me. I was like, that doesn't look like Batman. So I didn't have it either. My buddy Steven had it. And so I'd bring my Batmobile to his house and we played Batman, and these darts went away. They're never part of what was going on.
The box has rockets on it, but the toy has suction caps.
Yeah. Also, the wings were like foam, like
oh, really?
Wobbly foam. So it's hard to find a nice one now still. But you can even see in the picture here, it doesn't have the sheen of the plastic. It's got that dull Nerf foam to it. So it felt like a toy from a different line. And I think that's what was happening here. In this line was that Toy Biz was trying to make an action figure line without knowing how. So they tried a little bit of everything, right? They tried. We'll make this into like a little suction cup gun, and
a floppy wing suction cap gun.
We'll kind of try it. And so I would say that
little floppy suction cap gun.
Yeah,
with a trigger.
But this to me was one of those top 5 iconic moments when he pulled it up to the moon in the movie.
Yes. Right. Love that image.
And I remember loving the Batwing in the movie, loving it. And then this toy, after seeing my friend Steven had it, I'm like, I don't think I really want that one. I could do without it. So, but I do plan on picking one of these up soon to add to my Toy Biz collection. So once I find one that's a decent price, I am on the lookout if anybody's got one. But then moving on.
I'd be interested to see what you can do with a janky one.
Oh. Already, I'm thinking of what we can do to get rid of these suction cuppy things and figure something out.
Throw them out.
Get them out of there. Now, moving on. This was something I wish I would have had. Oh. Did any of them have the grip that the Joker's is hidden? Yeah, so they had a little trigger that would close little scissors at the front.
There you go. Okay.
So, but speaking of the Joker, I wasn't aware of this as a kid until I was like, I don't know, 20 something, and the internet was huge.
Yeah.
And I was like, there was a Joker van. This is a cool toy.
It looks. Oh, hey Matthew, how are you, buddy? I had it as a kid, but for some reason sold it 15 years ago, so I kicked myself out. I hated the darts. And Planet Decepticonicus is here. I recently found this channel and checked them out. So thanks for coming over and checking us out too, buddy. I appreciate it.
I got a really nice message from him on my last Voltron video.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was great.
So I reckon this would be a really good repurposed Punisher van.
That's it. So you're seeing exactly what it is, and why this is a cool toy to me is because it's not crazy. It doesn't have the Joker's face on the front. It's not. Yeah. It's just like a 40 Econoline van that the Joker's painted purple and driving around Gotham City in, and I love that. Right? Like I love this. Could easily have existed off screen in the movie. Absolutely.
Yep. And it's got water firing from the front.
Yes, it does. So it's a tie into like the Joker's. Joker's really going to get you wet and soggy all your money.
I think that was in the commercial.
Yeah. I'm very tempted to make little Joker dollar bills to have in my Toy Biz display.
Ah, brilliant.
Right. No, but so to me, this is almost as cool as the Batmobile. I think this is. I don't think there's been a Joker vehicle that's come out since that has been this cool. Just a basic repainted 40 Econoline van. This is great.
Yeah, I like it. We got some
Toy
fans out of it too. Love it. That's a beauty.
That's a beauty.
Green wheels. You got to have the green. The green and the purple.
You got the green tires going on.
Yeah.
Before Fast and the Furious, neon tires here.
The Joker van is a piece of art. Hey, don't forget to hit that like button too, guys. I really appreciate it if you could help us out there.
So then moving on, we had the Joker cycle.
There's that face.
There's that face in the front of a motorcycle that just has a goofy sidecar, so you can put Bob the Goon in it if you want. As much as I love the Joker van, I despise this. This does not like the Joker would never ride a motorcycle. Who's going to make this like this? This to me, save your time, Toy Biz. Get out of here.
Yeah, get out of here with that. Hey, speaking of legends.
Hey, look at that.
All the legends. They are now. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Yeah, but even 9-year-old Adam had no time for a Joker cycle.
No.
I was like, give me some more Bob the Goon. Oh, Rob Vegas. Now, the cool thing about this Joker is it does have one fleshy hand, so that's what Rob Vegas would be a fan of.
Maximum Overdrive. Wasn't that Green Goblin's head, though?
It was.
Am I thinking of... Yeah, Green Goblin. But still. I think for me, this is... If they had have made it a vehicle specifically for Bob the Goon, like give him a motorcycle, don't put the Joker's face on it.
Right.
You can have the sticker on the side. I don't mind the stickers on the side, right?
No, because in the movie he'd branded stuff.
Right, but the face in the front is too much. Now, the only thing that I think would be worse than that is if they had some sort of mutating cycle where Wolverine's face was pushed out through it. That if that ever happened, that'd just be too much. That's gonna be too much.
Well,
You know,
we might get there in an episode or two. That might just come to fruition there.
we'll see. We'll see.
But here's a crown jewel, my friend, which I think it's been tough. I don't think that it's been beaten since.
Can I guess real quick? Oh, you got it already.
Sorry.
That's fine. I was wrong though, because my guess was going to be this. I was wrong. Wrong line. Sorry, my bad.
Right.
Let me bring that back up for you.
But the Batcave.
Hey,
And
Steven.
so, hey, Steve, how's it going, buddy?
I get it, Phil. I get it.
Yeah,
That was not a sincere laugh.
that was my sincerest laugh. That's how I laugh all the time when I mean
It's
it.
real.
But this Batcave gets a lot of hate because it was
does?
like, yeah, it does, because it was like a thin plastic and there was cardboard pieces to put in it and whatnot, and it's pretty finicky. But I think once you get it together, like even like the railings and the platforms and the zip lines and stuff, like I think this is the best Batman play set that's been. Like I think it's fantastic. The one that came out for the next movie, which was like Wayne Manor on one side and Axis Chemicals on the other, that was good. That was good. This to me is just one thing. It is what it is, and I think I like that better.
So Aaron, that's just messing with it. Aaron says, I loved this Batcave. No one has topped it. So I think that I didn't have this Batcave, but so I don't really have an opinion as much as I only have go by what's on the screen. But it looks almost like a cross between old school Batman and what they were trying to do for the movie. I think it looks great.
Yeah, I think it looks great, and I think you're right. This is the one with the different head sculpt on the box. Yep, yeah. My son is well versed in his vintage toys. He makes his father proud.
Good. He makes me proud too.
There you go. But again, like this, you could use your superpowers, Batman and Robin, with this, and be like a '60s Batman atmosphere. It could be the '89 Batman. It could be whatever you wanted. And this Batcave is, I think, has like we talked about, it has yet to be touched as far as play value goes.
Yeah, it looks great.
So that's my little Toy Biz Batman presentation for you, my friend.
I loved it.
You loved it. You loved it.
Yes, thank you.
So how long? Question for you.
Yeah.
How long did your bat belt last on your Batman from Toy Biz?
From memory, I think that that it just stayed on the out position and never retracted. So
Before
at that point,
I went, yeah. So I got mine for Christmas.
You're going to decide if you're going to cut it off or you're going to tie it around his waist.
Right. So I got mine for Christmas, and before I went back to school in January,
Oh wow!
it was gone. So what happened with mine was the belt, the string broke at the belt, and went inside the figure. And I was like,
Gone.
"Hey, Dad, you can get that string out of there, can't you?" And he goes, "Nope." And just like didn't even. He's just like, and he's a great guy, and he's an engineer, and he can fix all the toys. But he was like, "Yeah, that's forever. Your Batman's gonna have a hole in his belt, son."
Oh dear.
So he did epoxy glue the outer belt back on though, so it looked better.
Oh, that's nice. My
Oh,
belt rope is still intact on mine somehow. Awesome.
yeah. So
So
I've got
my-
all four head sculpts, and 3 of them have intact belts, and 1 doesn't. 1 is like loose hanging out.
I only have very vague memories of because I was a big Marvel guy, right? So my my Batman playtime was probably short-lived, and only while the movie was hot, right? So it was short-lived and didn't last for long. So the cape was gone or it was repurposed. The bat belt. I don't know, but something tells me that it probably would have been just buggered. Yeah, but the more memories I have is basically just playing Batman with my buds. But we were Marvel, and that's what I like about this. Is that any of your Toy Biz? I would say that this was a lot of people's Toy Biz. You know,
Right.
Someone had this, some semblance of this, or they knew someone closely that had this, because it was everywhere. And if you're coming out of the gate with Batman 89 as your flagship launching pad, I mean, that's a success story right there.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to talk to somebody about how they landed the license. Like, how did a small Canadian company land the DC property of Batman, the live-action movie?
How? Hey, Dale, how are you, buddy? Hello,
How's it
everybody.
going?
Hello, Adam. Hello, TJC. Hello, Zazzy. And Joe Fan 84 snuck in. Evening, everyone. Just got off work. Michael Keaton will always be my Batman. Right
Now, and I'm gonna say this, that
yes,
even though this Batman run of these figures only lasted a year.
thanks, Heather.
Oh,
I appreciate it.
Look at
Great
this legend.
content, great discussion. So I subscribe. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate that.
That's great. She sounds like a great lady.
Yeah, you should marry that lady.
You know what? On it.
Done.
Done. But so even this lasted a year, and then because of a number of like quality control issues and complaints and whatnot, and the fact that I think they sold it as we can make the Kenner figures again, and they didn't.
Right.
DC went back to Kenner. They took the Dark Knight line of figures back to Kenner and released the Dark Knight figure line, where they had a real nice. They just put a Michael Keaton real nice head sculpt on the old superpowers bodies and kind of like retooled them up a little bit. But because they came out with, that's when they started like Tech Shield Batman, Laser Whip Batman, Deep Freeze Batman, all those different Batman variations.
Disco Batman.
Not one of them is as iconic as the Toy Biz Batman.
True.
Right? And I also think, I remember asking for a Kenner Batman when I saw them in the store. And my mom saying, well, no, you already have a Batman. So I think that you had to fight to get a Kenner Batman. But when the movie first came out, everybody got the Toy Biz Batman.
Yeah. And it was, I think for me, it was one of the first action figure phenomenons, right? But because it wasn't just toys, right? It was a big phenomenon in general, you know, whether it be merchandise or the movie. And this is before the movie. This is maybe we'd gotten a trailer, right? But even that was, if you didn't catch it, you couldn't go on YouTube and watch it. Like everyone was talking about. We got Michael Keaton as Batman. That was off the rails. But this is the one where I feel like for the first time, people were from I mean, everyone liked G.I. Joe, right? When I was growing up. But you could go and pick up any random G.I. Joe and you could still go out and play and you had your own personal favorite characters. This is the first time everyone was talking about in the playground one character. And that was it. It was Batman. Everything was Batman.
Also, it was so when Star Wars came out in '78, Batman.
I thought he was.
It was an action figure line tied to a movie content.
Right.
And then quickly the trend became Saturday morning cartoons.
Right.
And so you got like Mask, and you got Transformers, and you got G.I. Joe, and you got He-Man, and you got like, all those toys we loved as a kid. This was the first time we flipped back, and it was content based on a movie.
Right. Yes. And
right.
Phil brings up a good point here. Is that even Mum and Dad were into Batman? So Mum and Dad were growing up watching Adam West Batman, possibly reading Batman comics, or at least knew Batman, right? So you know, when we're in the toy aisle, say, "Oh, here's a Batman. We'll get our boy. You can't go wrong with a Batman.
Can't go wrong with a Batman or a Batmobile.
Gaz, you're gonna love the next episode, then, friend.
Oh, Gaz, this next episode's all, buddy. Episode 2 is where Gaz shines.
Yeah.
But so you're right. It was everywhere, and it was one character. It was Batman. You had to have it. And so even though this figure line was 3 figures long only, it wasn't hard to get them all, and you wanted them all. Yeah. And then so I remember I got for Christmas, I got the Batmobile, I got Batman, the Joker, and I got the Penguin, the Toy Biz Penguin that we're gonna touch on next week. I got those figures because I still had my Superpowers Robin. He had survived. And I got the VHS movie of Batman.
Yes.
And so I would watch that endlessly. That following summer, I watched it. I would in the morning, have a bowl of cereal, watch Batman, and then go play every day. Batman, just watch it every day. It was bigger than things had been before.
Yeah, and I think that really launched the concept of cross marketing, big blockbuster memorabilia. Not memorabilia. It wouldn't have been memorabilia at the time, right? It would have been
merchandise.
What was that called? Merchandise. Thank you. So Dale's like, you could say the same thing when everybody was talking about Dick Tracy around the same time. I did not in my area get a lot of people talking about Dick Tracy.
So in Canada, and I think North America, it was huge. So the summer of 1990, so the next year, everything was painted yellow. And I think they looked at what Batman was the year before and said, we're gonna do it again. But you couldn't go into a drugstore or a gas station or any store without seeing Dick Tracy merchandise somewhere. Keychains, pencil toppers, the little plastic figurines, the action figures. Like, it was everywhere, and they really tried to mimic Batman. And I don't think Dick Tracy had the overall appeal that Batman did, although I love Dick Tracy. But to go back to Phil, our Kiwi in Japan's point, I remember being at Pizza Hut, Thunder Bay, because we go to Thunder Bay, which is like a big city metropolis. We lived in Nipigon, and my dad saying, "Oh, let's go see a movie tonight," because we're in Thunder Bay. He's like, "We'll go see Dick Tracy," and he was excited about seeing Dick Tracy because it was something that he knew from as a kid.
Yeah.
Right. So I didn't have to convince him, and I think that was Batman started it. They did like Batman, Dick Tracy, the Shadow. Remember was the next one?
Yeah.
To kind of do that. The Phantom, like all these, like we're gonna just double down on these old properties so that people can take their kids to it. But again, Batman did it the best, and this Toy Biz line,
the Phantom, the Shadow, the Rocketeer. I won't share my Phantom story again, but those who know. What was the one with where his face was all messed up?
Darkman.
Yes, that was also very good.
The story behind Darkman was Sam Raimi was set to direct The Shadow, and he was going to make it more scary, more of a horror theme. And Grayson likes the Green Hornet as well.
Yeah.
And so they said, no, we don't want that. So they said, Sam Raimi, you can't direct it. So he went and wrote Darkman, which was his version of The Shadow. And looking back now, you're like, it would have been a great version of The Shadow. Like that. Yeah. Actually, if you go back and watch Darkman now, you can see a lot of Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man in Darkman.
I haven't seen it in so long, but I reckon next watch along we do a bunch of these ones: Batman, Dick Tracy, the Shadow, the Rocketeer. Yeah, Heather, I liked the Rocketeer when I was a kid. I love it as an adult.
Love it as an adult.
Yeah.
You didn't realize as a kid the love letter to the 40s that the Rocketeer was.
Is the Darkman the one that drove the Plymouth Prowler? I don't know.
I don't think so. Know. So I think that was Nightman and he played the saxophone, and it was weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of saxophone in the 90s. You know what I miss? Saxophone solos. There's not enough saxophone solos in music anymore.
Right. But this hero, I think
I knew the Rocketeer before I really knew Batman. Does anyone really know Batman?
Vicky Vale does.
That was Nightman.
That is Nightman. Yeah. And so have you seen Nightman?
Awesome. Yeah. Have I seen Nightman? I don't think so.
So he was like a mid-90s TV show, and it was a Marvel character, like a little Marvel character, and he had like a monocle and like a Batman kind of rubber suit, but his alter ego was like a jazz saxophone player.
Okay.
It was something. I'll send you the trailer later.
Yep. Love a bit of Huey Lewis in the news.
Right. But even the score of Batman was so, because Danny Elfman, right? Who you think Danny Elfman now, you think like, oh, he's like the guy who does all the movie scores. But before that, he was in like that weird rock band that they did like weird science.
So that became the iconic Batman song almost as much as the TV song, right? Whenever anyone thinks Batman, they go no, right? But you also have the movie Batman theme,
and
as much
as
Elfman,
Superman. When he did the score for Dick Tracy, it's almost the same score, right? When he did the score for the Flash TV show, they're like, just do Batman again, and so you get these Elfman-like scores that were just different enough to be different, but really that became a genre.
And it kind of makes them feel connected in a way too. I love the Flash TV series. I'm looking forward to talking about the Flash action figure with his running action, right? The kick legging action that Bob the Goon got. How did they not give Flash running action? They gave him like arms, but that's come on.
So the Superpowers Flash had running action.
He did.
And the Toy Biz one had arms that went.
That's also a Prince's
Bat Dance.
Bat Dance.
Remember that video that came out for Bat Dance? And you're like,
yes.
And again, before you saw the movie, you watched this weird video to get like 8 seconds of footage in the film that you're like, oh, there it is. There's Batman. There's doing his thing.
And then it sort of kicked off the Batman movie song that was going to come out. So you had Seal came out with one. U2, right?
Yeah, Kiss Me, Kill Me, Thrill Me.
Yeah.
Right.
Did Batman Returns have a song?
Batman Returns, no, not so much. The soundtrack was really Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Batman and Robin had those ones by Smashing Pumpkins. That's like the beginning is the end is the beginning, and the end is the beginning is the end.
That does not ring a bell.
And they had that one that was by R. Kelly. It was like Gotham City.
Jeez, there it is. All right. So what's our plan for our next episode?
So next episode is we're gonna say farewell to DC and hello to Marvel in one episode in the 1990 wave, where they expanded and really tried to duplicate the success of the superpowers. And they didn't quite hit the mark, which caused them to be dropped by DC. But then Marvel came along and said, hey, we could use some action figures, which got, and we're going to talk about this next week, but you got for the first time a perfect pairing of a Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and Captain America all in exactly the same scale.
Nice.
Like essentially the same toy line, right?
As a Marvel fanboy, I was like, Adam, if we're going to talk about Toy Biz, can we start with like X-Men or something? And you're like, no. You're not skipping over DC, buddy. We are going to go chronologically. Trust me, it's going to be fun. And
you got to earn it, right? Because we've got to see where this humble beginnings was. And I think, and I love this. not gonna get weird here, but I love the story of this like small company that just like tried something.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're just gonna try, and you know, it was a kind of miss. Like history tells us that it was a miss, but in '89, to me, it was perfect. Like perfect toys.
Absolutely. And this has been a perfect stream, hanging out with my perfect friend Adam.
This guy.
Thank you to everybody in the chat as well that has gone down this little trip down memory lane with '89's Batman. Is that any of your Toy Biz? Let us know in the comments if you guys had this. And that's really some of as we go through, some of these are going to be a little bit more yes and no for me, because I feel like when Marvel started pumping out some more toys, I was like, well, maybe I don't need Superman. Maybe I don't need Green Lantern. I've got some other options happening over here. But yeah, we do. Buddy, if you wanna lead that chat, let's do it. Fun chatting. Yep, thanks, buddy. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, great memories. All great memories. Well done. Thank you. Very educational. I always learn a lot when I'm hanging out with Adam. Catch you later, bud. Yeah, Marvel. Different. It was a game changer. Please don't go. It's the end of the stream. It is the end of the stream. We're keeping it light and tight, keeping on topic. But we do appreciate if you could leave a like. Go Adam's channel, and I know everybody here is probably already subscribed to Adam, because why wouldn't you? The links to Adam's channel is in the description. Please go and sub over there. Check out his stuff. It is infinitely cooler than anything I'm doing over here.
Stop.
If you want to be part of the Clubhouse roll call, there's a link to the Patreon as well. Check that out. Every little bit helps. But more so, watching this, hanging out with you guys, hitting that like button and having a good time is invaluable, more valuable,
super valuable,
super valuable. So
valuable.
Appreciate it, guys. Good night. We'll leave you with the new outro. I'll have to. It's down to 44 seconds, but man, cheers. Yeah, go check him out. You won't regret it, buddy. And thanks for hanging out, Grayson, and everyone else in the chat. Let's get out of here. Oh, thanks, Brick Something. I appreciate it, buddy. And let's go with the 44-second outro. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you, buddy.
I'll see you next time.
Next time.